My name is Stefanie Schumacher.
And what organization do you work with?
I'm working at the Alfred Wegener Institute in Bremerhaven, working for the PANGAEA database.
Cool. And why do you do the work that you do?
So, in my opinion, it's really important to save our data, to store our data in a good repository, and to have the data following the FAIR principles. So data are not only findable, but they are interoperable and reusable. That's why I'm doing that job.
Cool. Can you briefly explain the FAIR principles?
We can store our data, but it's necessary to find the data for other scientists. We don't only want to see the data, but we want to use the data. So if we have data, for example, in a PDF document, data are not interoperable, but if we have data in a machine-readable format, I can use the data quite easy and compare my data with other data, for example. Reusable, it's a bit more, so it's prepared that I can reuse the data, so I need a lot of metadata describing the data so I can see how data were picked up, data were stored, where data were processed, for example. And I just forgot one. Accessible, yes, that's the second one. So data should be open access, especially when data are published. So that the whole community can get this data and nobody needs to ask, please give me your data, I want to work on it. It's like a paper, so normally a paper is open access or in a library, and I can go to this paper and I don't need to ask for data paper usage.
Cool. And what is the objective of your organization specifically?
So we are working in both poles regions, so doing all kind of polar scientific, working on land and in the air and in the water. And we are also doing the lower latitudes because of our position of ARWI, and also there are a couple of connections between lower and higher latitudes.
Cool. And why did you come to this conference or this meeting?
So I'm the representative of Germany for the Arctic Data Committee, and I'm also interested in how all the other data archives and centers are working, and if there are better options to be connected. For example, for data harvesting, it's quite easy to maybe to harvest, but if you don't use the same semantics, for example, it's not really we are not really able to get our data together, for example. So that's why it's important to have meetings like this, come to these meetings and be involved.
Yeah. And what's kind of your end goal in doing all this work for the broader global context?
So we are preparing a really huge data product, or let me say a database for ongoing research. Since we are going to the poles and doing a lot of climate research, I think it's for the climate change a really good pool of data. And what we are also doing is doing the paleoceanography, for example, so we are going from the past to the future, giving the modelers a lot of data to tune their models.
Cool. And if I were like a 7-year-old kid, how would you explain the importance of this?
It's a bit like saving your experience or saving things. So if you get something that's really important and seems to be useful for you, you should keep on it, you should have a tag on it, and you should store it somewhere. If you don't care about it, for example, on the playground, it will be lost. And that's the same with the data. If we don't care about the data, they will be lost. And it's like not only your data, you want to have other kids playing with this data and being a big group dealing with this data.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what's, I guess, the coolest part about what you do, or the coolest link to what you do?
So, yes. If we have prepared data sets, which are really important data sets, in our opinion, each data set is important, of course. But for example, if we are preparing data sets for a community having a nature paper, and in the end, they are publishing their data, and you see that this data, not only publishing the data, publishing the paper, and you see in the end that there's a connection between the written paper and the data, and that we have managed this data in a good format, and that we give this data to the scientific community. So this is really great, and we really feel happy if we have this kind of data publication. Yeah.
So kind of contributing to the wider context?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add?
So I hope that we will go forward with data archiving, and that it takes maybe not the next 20 years, that scientists will not only get credit for the papers, but also credit for data sets and data products. So at the moment it's a little bit that the data sets are just in the end of the publication process. And it would be nice when you combine papers and data publications and give also credit to the paper publications.
Cool.
That's the future.
Well, thank you.
Okay.